Welcome to Paris Paranormal. We're right here in Paris, Tennessee, and I'm Terry Keel, and this is the place you can come and tune into and ask questions, get answers hopefully, and find out what's been going on in your life when you've had all those weird bumps in the night, or you see shadow people and things like that, and that scares you. That's why I'm here. And there are so many things that can and do happen to so many of us, and we don't always understand why. Well, that's why I'm here. And I've had a lifetime of strange and enigmatic happenings that the Lord has walked me through and given me understanding for, all those different things that have happened. And tonight we have a fun-filled evening planned for you, because tonight joining us we have Philip Siracusa here with us, and we're going to be bringing him in via Zoom. So please be sure to put any questions that you might have for him in the live chat area tonight. And he's got an interesting story that he's going to talk to us about. He's got a lot of interesting stories, but tonight we're going to focus on his near-death experience. And, he's got a very powerful spin on what happened to him and how it happened. Each one is so amazing and very uniquely set for that person experiencing it. And we want you in on it. So I'm just going to read a little bit about him. And we've got a little video first that we want to do before I read that bio. It's a little bit of maybe a Bigfoot. And I want you to tell me what you think. How do you feel about this little video? Share with us in the comments if you will, or send us an email. And love to hear from you. Okay, so let's watch this. So this looks like it's just a setting, and something is there behind the trees moving. And I want you just to watch. This was actually at a crime scene where human remains were found. And look at the size of this and the power this thing has to just pick up this tree and move it with ease. Okay, that's a big, heavy tree. Not too many people are just gonna, push it over like that. And then watch this. He lifts it right up and drops it. Yeah, you heard that thud. So, that was really a heavy piece of wood. Now, unfortunately, we didn't get any other type of shot of that. So, you don't know, was it AI? Was it CGI? What was it, Or was it real? So what do you think? We'd like to hear what you have to say about it. So again, let me go forward now and read my bio about Philip, because he is Philip and his wife, actually, Julia, who isn't on tonight, but they are wonderful podcasters that do a podcast at the Horsefly Chronicles.com, and that's on Monday nights. It's on Facebook, and it's so much interesting information and people that they interview, and they live in a very haunted house. So I understand that this Horsefly Chronicles is something that I'd like to have him back and talk about at some point, because this is a real big deal. But they do this podcast. He's an author, a speaker, and a near-death experiencer, which is what we're going to be focusing on tonight. So I just want to welcome in Philip and bring you on, and let's hear the story that you've got, and tell us about your life work and what got you started in all of this. So welcome.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. Mm-hmm. You have a great show.
Thank you.
We all have a calling in life.
Yep.
And the calling is, some of us get into things that other people may not understand, and we're considered messengers. And I consider myself a messenger of the paranormal, near-death experience, things to that nature. And it's not because I read books on it, it's because I'm living it.
Yeah.
I'm living testimony of what I'm dealing with. And Horsefly Chronicles has become a household name, Horsefly Chronicles, the home, the radio. We now have the World of Psychics Network. We have the NDI network building up. So we're starting a movement as well, and the movement is people helping people, and we're trying to enforce that into a way where it's humanity helping humanity, right?
That's wonderful.
And that's part of the mission, because it's kind of like, this land is my land, this land is your land, that song, and it's kind of like help each other, because no one's going to help you. So
Right.
if each person does that moving forward, you have better societies and better cultures moving forward to future generations.
Excellent. I love to hear that. And
Thank
bravo to
you.
you. So, what did you think of that Bigfoot video?
It's interesting. I'll tell you what, it's really interesting. AI, CGI, or is it real? From my experience, now I've never seen a Bigfoot, but from my experience of talking to people and interviewing people, it's just like the UFOs and aliens. Are they real? Yes.
Mm-hmm.
But I believe that we're in a multi-dimensional universe
We are.
where people would say, well, how come our satellites, the big government satellites, don't pick these things up? Well, maybe, just maybe, these things are also somehow interdimensional, where it's kind of like a time traveler.
Yeah.
They can shift through different dimensions of time.
Mm-hmm.
It's a strong belief that I have, and I'm going to stick with that, because, again, I don't know if that video, the authenticity of it, or it looks real, but then again, today's world, we don't know it, right?
Right.
We've come that far now, we don't know. But is Bigfoot real? I would say so, yeah. Are things that we can't explain? Look, I'm a New Yorker. I got a thick head. And I don't believe anything till I see it. I don't care who you are, the president, the pope. I just don't believe you.
Yeah.
I want my own proof of what I want to see it. I want to see it. There's an old Italian saying, it's believe none of what you hear and half of what you see. Period.
Right. That's so true.
And I can tell you that, living in a haunted house and not realizing what's happening, these things are real. Yes, most definitely. So that was a fascinating video.
Yeah, it really was. And if we could take it for face value, I would say something very unique and strange was going on there. I do believe in Bigfoot. I will tell you I have seen one. That is an absolute fact. And it's life-changing. It's very frightening. And it was only for a moment, but I did actually see that 100%. And it's possibly a hybrid, some type of interdimensional hybrid creature. I won't go into all that because this is about you. I want to hear about your near-death experience, but just to put a little bow on that, I do believe in them. They are out there. I've seen one. So moving right along, I am very interested in your specific near-death experience, because my life for 40 years was involved in the medical dental field, and I was in a dentist's office every day of my life working with my team, and many strange things would happen, but we never had what happened to us, what happened to you. And so I'd love for you to share with our viewers what you experienced and how this all came about.
Sure. Before I start that,
Yeah.
I want to say this. I do not disrespect anyone's religion or beliefs, because we each have our own divine journey here in the realm,
Right.
the physical realm. And I say that because where my story and experience is going to go, people may say differ, but that's okay.
Yeah.
I get asked all the time, is there another side? Well, look, I'm 56 years old. I consider myself a messenger. In 1981, my mom had taken me to the dentist. We lived in Staten Island, New York. And it was a routine visit. And I remember sitting in the chair, and I don't like a dentist. At that age, who likes a dentist, right?
Who
Them
likes
pulling
the
at-
dentist? Yeah.
It's like a fear factor itself, just going to a dentist, And I kept pulling they were cleaning my teeth, and then he found something, and I'm pulling his arm away. And then he put the mask on me, and that we used to call it sweet air, jokingly, but it's nitrous
Yes.
oxide.
Uh-huh.
Well, when I was born, just to go back a little bit, I was born with allergies to everything. I mean, they might as well just put me in a plastic bubble. Back in the
Mm.
70s, they gave me a forearm grid where they put the dots in your arm and they put the medications and see what you're allergic to. And I remember back in New York City, the doctor says, this kid's allergic to everything. Well, one of the things was something that was uncommon, I guess. So they gave me sweet air, which was nitrous oxide. I pulled his arm away again. It was my mom sitting in the room with the assistant and the actual dentist. And again, he's poking, and he says to the assistant, turn up the nitrous oxide. And they turn it up.
Yikes. Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm 14 years old. This is 1981. I'm just a teenager. And all of a sudden, I feel myself lifting out of my body. And I'm up on the ceiling. And now I look down. I'm turning and I'm looking down. Hello, hello. I'm saying, hello. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Mom. And I'm looking, but I see my body. I see them with the mask on me. And I'm being pulled through the ceiling, up into the sky, and everything's getting smaller, just as if you're in a plane.
Mm-hmm.
But what was actually happening to me was I wasn't feeling pain or anything. I was just feeling good, like I'm drifting,
Right.
floating.
Right.
And then part of me is consciously thinking it's a dream. I went into a dream state. I have to be dreaming. And then I'm pulled into a tunnel. This tunnel is huge, and it does exist, and it is not visible, of course, to the naked eye. It's like a third-dimensional tunnel that's very big and wide and dark. And I remember being sucked through it like, it's funny when I say like the end of a vacuum cleaner hose when you're picking up all the dirt. And I'm right through it. I'm being pulled right through really, really fast, and I feel this vibration. And it's very, very long, and Philip is gone now. That's over. Now I'm being pulled through, and of course, this is my spirit body, not my physical body. My
Right.
physical body's still here.
Mm-hmm.
And then I start slowing down. I start to hear melodies, and I see a pinhole of light. And then I'm being pulled again by some type of a gravitational pull right to that pinhole of light. And again, there's no distance, so I can't explain it, how long this thing is, this tunnel. But this pinhole of light opens up into a euphoric, magnificent sky that my words just don't have enough meaning to describe. The sky itself was filled with an energy, and the energy of love. And the first thing consciously I'm saying to myself is, I'm home. I'm back home.
Yeah.
And then I'm being pulled through a garden, and the garden is second to none. The garden, every leaf, flower, rose, everything is beyond our simpleton words in the physical realm. But beyond that, there's colors that I can't describe.
Mm-hmm.
On that side. There's these colors that don't even exist here, that were magnificent. But you see, now what was happening to me was I feel like I'm home. And I'm taking all the embracement of love through this other side, all this energy of everything in creation. And I can feel all this beauty around me. And then I'm being pulled into a field. Now, when I say pulled, it's like this magnetic pull.
Yes.
I felt like it was a magnetic pull. And I'm being pulled into the field. And I always talk about the fields every day, because the fields are something that will always be embedded in me. The fields are incredible. Mm-hmm. Each blade of grass,
yeah.
The distance and the width and the size of the field, it just keeps going on and on. And it's a scenery unlike anything any movie description could possibly give, or anything that mankind has ever written. And not only that, but it's alive. Mm-hmm. It's alive, and where you feel the embracement of energy of every blade of grass. You know, we could look at a field over here and a golf course and say, it's beautiful, it's nice. No.
Yeah.
No. You see, the difference is you feel it.
Right.
You can feel the energy of everything.
Mm-hmm.
And in a distance that I can describe, this female being was coming slower and closer to me. And I'm looking in a far distance, and she's coming slower and closer and slower and closer. And she doesn't pull me by hand. And I look at her and I know her, but I don't know from where.
Mm.
And I'm somehow again being pulled through with her, and she takes me to a scenery, a scenery of a park with a park bench. And she goes away, and I didn't want her to leave because I felt comfort with her as well, like I knew her.
Mm-hmm.
And then these two elderly people stand up and turn around, and it's my grandparents.
Oh, wow.
Now,
How wonderful.
now, I never met my grandfathers. My grandfather and my grandmother. My grandfather had on, I never met him. He had on a top hat. He had on a gray suit. He looked around his 60s, but not the 60s in the physical realm. Because I get asked this all the time. Why would a person look so old and that's not? No. I think what they try to do is show you them so that you understand. And he looked incredible, incredible. And he had a glow around him, like he was shining. And my
Mm.
grandmother, who died earlier that year in 81, had this blue dress on that she was buried in. I was like, Grandpa. And the first words that he says to me is, hello, Sonny, just like that.
Oh,
And I was so happy.
yeah.
I finally get to meet you. I've only seen you in pictures. And not the way you look here. And then I look at my grandmother. I go, Grandma, because I love my grandmother very much. And she looks at me and she points a finger and says, go back.
Ooh.
And then my grandfather looks at my grandmother and goes, what's Philip doing here? And all
Mm.
of a sudden I'm being pulled backwards. And I say,
Oh.
Grandma, all the time I'm being pulled back through the fields, back through the garden. And there were these gates there. I remember these beautiful gates. I was pulled through that, and I was pulled into the tunnel going backwards. And I
Mm.
didn't want to leave. When you're on that side, you don't want to leave.
I know.
You
It's
don't want to leave.
amazing.
And I'm being pulled back really fast, and somehow, through my spirit mind, again, this is not a physical body, I'm projecting to stop in the tunnel. And I do stop in the tunnel. And there is no melodies, there's nothing but darkness. And now, what is actually happening to me is I felt like I don't exist at this point. I'm in total darkness. It's as if I never was anything. I never belonged. And I'm looking, and there's nothing but darkness that I can see. And I'm pulling myself consciously back to that pinhole of light at the end of that tunnel.
Mm-hmm.
And I do.
Yeah.
Again, it's all through a gravitational pull. And then just one more time, I'm sucked right through again, the tunnel, going backwards. Really, really fast. There's no words on the description of speed that's happening. And then over a building, and I'm looking at my body with an oxygen mask on me. And now I know. Now I know what happened. But I still don't know. Was it a dream? Am I hallucinating? What's happening to me? And you don't have a choice. I was pulled right in like you put a glove on to the
Right.
body.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
And and I'm gasping for air, gasping for air. And what happened was this: I had an allergic reaction to the nitrous oxide.
Mm-hmm.
According to everything else I was taking for asthma. And I guess it stopped my breathing at some point where there was nothing coming through. And I remember gasping and gasping. Um, After that experience, at that moment, when I'm back in the body, I still think it's a dream state. I know it felt real,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm just like, where was I? Was it a dream? Was it a real dream? What's happening to me?
Mm-hmm.
A couple of days later, I'm back home, Staten Island, New York, and I remember telling my parents and friends I was in heaven. I says, Mom, I seen Grandma and Grandpa, and this is 1981, right? There's no internet, there's none of that stuff. So it's hard for people. It's a dream.
Mm-hmm.
It's a nightmare. It's an hallucination. It was the medication. And now I'm 15, 14 years old, and I'm agreeing, okay, this is what it is. I lived a normal teenage life after that, but it was a year later when this is what did happen to me. And I want you to listen carefully in the audience because, miracles, they do happen.
Oh, yes.
I'm in the backyard. It's a beautiful summer day. And I look at this rose bush in the front yard. And I looked up at the sky and I says, God, if I was really at your home, give me a sign because no one believes me. And I'm not sure if I believe me. So
Yeah.
about 10 minutes later, my mom says, hey, we're going to go for a walk. And I had three brothers, two sisters, and my father was working in Manhattan that day. And we all met in the front yard and we lived in a long street and we're going for a walk as a family. And I'm walking and I'm just thinking about, I wanted my prayer answered. Like, was I really in heaven? This is exactly what happens. I feel this vibration to the right of me. Again, now it's a year later, so I'm 15. I feel the vibration. I turn. It's the girl from heaven.
Really?
Mom, I'm saying, Mom, do you see her? Do you see her? That's the girl I was talking about. She don't see anybody. My brother's looking at me like, who you looking at?
Oh, wow.
But my older sister that was further to the right says, I see her. And she's looking at her and she's laughing. This girl looked about my age. She had on what I remember is like blue jeans, a shirt with flowers. These were the same flowers I seen in that garden in heaven.
Hmm.
And she was filled with life. She was skipping along. And I says, you could see me? And she goes, of course I could see you, silly.
Wow.
And my older sister's talking to her. Talk about feeling alive in the physical realm. Is like, wow. Now, the first thing that comes through my mind is this was the message. This was the message from the creator.
Hmm.
And we're walking and she's laughing and talking and she's just having a really good time. But no one else sees it but my oldest sister and me. And we didn't care at that point. It's as if we were isolated just with this one girl. In fact, we talk about this once a week, my sister and I.
Wow, that's
About
amazing.
heaven. And then about a block up, we're looking for her because she's not there. Somehow, in between me and my older sister, she's gone. Well,
Did you
remember
ever
when I
get a
said,
name of who that
when I
was?
said when I was in heaven, I felt like I knew her?
Yeah.
Well, before I was born, um, my mom had a daughter, and she died at a week or two old.
Oh, wow.
And I made my sister Linda, who I never got to meet.
Wow.
And it is a strong belief, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that we finally got to meet her.
Isn't that amazing? Hmm.
I get chills. I have chills right now.
Yeah.
Uh,
Hmm.
you know, you try to think, and we try to understand, do miracles happen? They do.
They do.
In the most uncertain ways that we try to say, well, it has to happen this way. It doesn't exist like that.
Hmm.
My near death experience has helped me learn that if every man on earth says, well, it was a hallucination or a dream, I could stand in front of anybody and say, no. You could believe that. Yes,
That's
of
right.
course you can. You have a choice to believe that.
Right.
But knowing where I was at this age I am now, people ask me, are you afraid of death? No, no,
Mm-mm.
no. Yes, we in the physical realm, we think about death as, well, I don't want to be put 6 feet under or cremated. When you give yourself those thoughts of what's going to happen, I'm afraid. But then when you leave that part of you and you look at the spiritual end,
Yeah.
oh no, 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 no. It's a million times greater than what you could even fathom to experience in the physical realm. And I have helped many people in the physical realm with my message of we go on. We go on.
Yes, we
Again,
do.
I do not, and I get different types of religions because this is what I do. I talk to people and try to let them know that there is another side. And of course, different cultures and religions believe that you can't communicate with the dead or you
Right.
can't go to a place called heaven
Hmm.
because only it's when the Creator would say you can. Look, I believe in my personal experience that we're all in our own lane in the physical journey
Hmm.
and we have soul contracts.
Hmm.
And each person is designed differently, which is beautiful, to experience things a different way. Because, quite frankly, if we all were uniform, the same thought process, and we all think the same things, then life is boring. So, uniquely, we're designed, and we've created our own contract of imprint of how we want to experience things and what we want to do. I'm not meant to be a doctor or a scientist. I'm a family man, but I'm a messenger in the scopes of that, helping people know that, hey, it's real.
Yeah, it
There is
is.
a place called heaven, which I call home. Now, I get asked all the time, well, Philip, if you were in heaven, did you meet God? So I get all the hard questions. I love hard questions. No, no. And they look at me like, well, if you didn't meet God, you were in heaven. Well, you see, now I was pulled into the pinhole of light, and the light was the vibration, and the vibration was the energy, and the energy was the love, which is the creator,
Yes. He
because
is
it is the
love.
existence of life and everything.
Yeah.
We use love here in the physical realm as I love you, and then you
Yeah.
get to a fight. Well, I don't know if I love you anymore. You know, it's kind of, but I love you, but I don't love you. Well, no. Now, when you're on the other side, and I talked about the embracement of feeling everything, that's unconditional love. That
Yes.
is the true meaning of love.
Yes.
I get asked all the time, can there ever be heaven on earth? In my perspective, no, because mankind has taken a lot of that away through societies and cultures and wars and, and a whole, but it doesn't mean that you can't raise your vibration in the physical realm to help mankind,
Right.
right? It doesn't mean that you can't do that. And it's important to know that, the material things that we have, you could have a mansion or you could have a yacht, you could have millions in your bank account, and well, look at me, I'm better than everybody else. You know what? Here's the way I describe it.
Mm-mm.
You are born into the physical realm naked, and you're going to die and go out of this realm naked.
That's
And
right.
everything, you ain't taking a U-Haul truck with you with all your belongings.
No luggage
But what,
racks.
but what you will take with you is the embracement of love that you've done for mankind and
That's
the
right.
message you push forward to help each other. And that is the hardest thing because we all are built on egos. Everyone has an ego on everybody, right? And that's only because of the way you developed and where you grew up and how you grew up and under the societies that you grew up. But it doesn't mean that you can't change things. Because once you find yourself through either a form of meditation or maybe a religion that you belong to or some kind of a spiritual connection, you realize that, wait a second, if it's about mankind and if it's about what I said, that every blade of grass was perfect and the
Mm-hmm.
embracement of love
Mm-hmm.
is in every flower and perfection on that side,
Mm-hmm.
then why can't you help each other going forward into the best of them and be the best of me?
Right. That's what it's all about, you know. And I have to say, I agree with you. Everything there is so perfect. I have been there. I've had a near-death experience. I've had a death and dying experience, but I've also been taken out of my body and taken places where things are just unbelievably perfect, beyond words perfect. And it's hard to even describe. You've done a very good job sharing this portion of your life and what you experienced. And it is very real. And a lot of people have this. And it's almost like, Philip, if somebody hasn't had it, I don't know that they can really understand it,
I agree.
because it is so completely different than here, and yet so amazingly similar, but very different. And you feel love, like you're saying, not just from the grass, but the flowers and the trees and the air and any animal that you would see. Everything just exists in such a perfect love. And that is being in the presence of our Father God. And that is what He's created. That's what it was before the fall of man and sin that entered, and that is how it is. And
I agree with you. And you said that there are people who have near-death experiences. Well, I didn't encounter anything.
yes,
And,
that's
and
right.
back to what I said at the beginning of the show.
Mm-hmm.
In my belief, we all have soul contracts that we have planned out that we want to live in this physical realm. Some people may have done this already and say, well, I don't see anything. I don't experience anything. You won't because you already done it. Or maybe you're going to do it at a future lifetime. You know, I do believe, again, I'm a believer in certain things. I also believe that somehow we know it all in the
Yes.
knowing of us. And it's kind of like, well, some of us forget, and that's okay.
Right.
And then
Right.
others come forward, like yourself and myself. And there are hundreds of NDEers who have these incredible stories where they're all walks of life. They're doctors and scientists and physicists. And like, well, I can't explain where I was, but I know it was real. The other side is more real than this. This is the dream state. That is the life.
Yes.
You know how we say rest in peace when someone crosses over? It's an expression.
It is.
But do I really mean rest in peace? No, I don't mean it, because guess what? You're alive.
You are. You're more
You're
alive
alive.
there, because I
You're
believe that
alive.
we're spiritual beings
You
on a
ain't
human
6 feet under
journey.
the ground.
Right.
You're alive.
You're alive. Yeah.
You're going home.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know, I just said this yesterday on an interview I did. You know, the body doesn't get saved, the spirit does. And the spirit
Yes.
goes on, and the body stays here. So people seem to think that when they become a Christian or they get saved, you know, or whatever their belief is, however they see that happening, you know, that the body gets saved. No. No one gets the body out alive. The body stays here. It's an earthen vessel. But the
Yes.
spirit goes on, because the spirit, like I was saying earlier, we are spiritual beings on a human journey. And that spirit is here to learn, to receive, to understand, to love, and to learn that sacrifice and the submission to that love. And that's a hard thing. You know, but you have that blessing that you've been on the other side, and now you have something to compare where you're going with. You know, many times I've said to people, we're not here forever. This we know. Our grandparents, all of them, all the generations of our grandparents are dead. So we know we will die at some point. What point? We don't know. All of us are going to die. We don't want to think about it, because we don't want to think about how the body is going to die, but the spirit is going to live on. And so that's okay. And once you come to being okay with that, you're not really afraid anymore of death, you know, because it's just a matter of taking a coat off, taking the body
Yes.
off, and moving forward, you know, so to speak. But yeah, I mean, I do have memories from being a very, very young child of things that don't make sense to me, and I don't know how I could know them, and yet I know them. And I've been out of my body. I've seen myself go right through the roof, and thousands upon thousands of people have had those experiences like you had there. One thing I was going to ask you is, did they admit at that dental office that you had passed away, or was that covered over?
Yeah.
Yeah, because
Oh,
you did
well,
die, and they were able to resuscitate you. That is
Yes.
very interesting, because I could see, having been in that realm for many years, how that could happen if somebody had an allergy to the nitrous oxide. Nitrous oxide can be very, very lethal if given in the wrong doses. It can kill you, you know. And it's a good thing. It helps with the pain and everything, and it puts you to sleep. However, there's a downside to it as well. And so obviously that's what you experienced. And that's why you were able to leave your body the way you did, because it was more than just a transcendental meditation that you were having, you know.
Yes.
So yeah, it's very interesting.
Well, I'm going to say that like a year ago, I was looking into this whole thing, and there's people who've had similar experiences in the dentist office with nitrous oxide.
Sure, of course.
And I wasn't the only one, you know, because people would say, well, you're hallucinating on the medication. Of course,
No.
that's the first possibility. But having the miracle of, wait a second now, hold it. You could say it's a hallucination, or, well, now the girl from heaven that my
Right.
sister saw, that's also hallucination, that someone else sees it a year later.
Right,
This
and your
person.
grandparents, right.
So You can't prove everything to everybody, and we're not meant to. And not everybody's going to believe you or
It's not
understand it.
important, right? It's
What
important
is
to
important?
you, yeah.
What is important is us, including yourself. I can feel your kind heart of what you're saying as well. Is that what we believe in is what we push the message forward,
Right.
because that is our journey, because that's what we've selected. So, there's over 200 types of religions, if not more, around the world, and everyone says, well, I have the right religion. And I don't disrespect anyone's religion. I believe that if you believe in a certain religion, that's because you've chosen it, and that's good.
Uh-huh.
That's good, but don't ever disrespect someone else's beliefs along the way.
That's right.
Just
Everybody,
because you haven't walked in their footprints
that's right.
doesn't mean you should throw stones at their footprints.
That's right. Not everybody is going to have the same type of experience. Everybody is in a different place in their spiritual awareness and awakening, and each person has their own walk and path. And there really aren't a lot that are alike. Although where we're all going in the same direction, but just in a very different journey. There is one truth, there is one God, there is, one creator, but many people do see it in a lot of different ways, and it's their choice. We're free will agents. It's their choice to receive the truth about who God is and where he's taking us. It depends on where you were born, how you were raised. There's so many variants there, but it's our responsibility to seek and to find truth. And that's my portion of this life. That's why I do what I do. I feel very chosen to be a voice and to reach out and to be a good listener to those who are experiencing what they're experiencing. But then if there is more that I can share or I can add, or maybe something you can share with me and add with my experience, it's a give and it's a take. It isn't all one person. This is not an ego thing. It's not about winning or being better or having more toys at the end of the, path. It's about the love, the care, the concern, the help that we could be, the ear that we could be. Really that is truly what this life is about, because we are not taking anything from this life with us. Absolutely nothing. Like you said, naked we came and naked we will go. The only thing we have is the love for me that Christ has given me and that I've grown in. I wasn't always this person, and you weren't the same person until you had that experience.
Yes.
So life is about experiencing, and then what we take from those experiences and how we move forward. Could we be misled? Yes, and I think some people are. I don't think everybody gleans from their experience as much as you have. You know what I'm saying? They don't put it together with, now I can serve others, I can love others, I can help others. It's more about them. And I mean, I've seen that, at my age, you see a few things.
Yeah. Well, I'm not a great chick, and I see it too. And I talk about the body as a leased vehicle.
Yes.
It's a lease. It's a lease. Your body's going backward. It's just going right back to the ground or wherever it came from. The spirit body's what goes on.
Yes.
Whether you want to be cremated or buried or whatever you want to do with it, or whatever your will is, that's fine. But it's a leased vehicle at the end of the day. And the egos and materialistic things, you're not taking it with you. Like I said earlier, you don't have a U-Haul truck. It ain't coming with you. So why not be the best person you can be? Now, it goes further, because now at this point, and in the last couple of months, I've joined also like-minded people like myself, and there's a mission that we're pushing. Mm-hmm. The mission is, I don't want to get too far into governments, but look, when you get older, you start to realize how there's a lot of control over what we do and how we do it and all that stuff, even the air that you breathe, right? But what they can't control is how we care for each other. Right. And the mission is moving forward and one person helping one person at a time. Mm-hmm. And that is a mission. And I'm a co-author of 12 people got together around the world, and we're coming out with a book called Death, the transition of how we embrace it, what our beliefs are, what we've experienced. But more than the book is helping each other move forward. There's a lot of grieving people. Did you know that the national suicide since January 1st, 2024 in the United States is 42,000?
Oh my heavens.
42,000.
No, I did
Since
not know that.
January 1st. Now, yeah, because the government won't show you, the news won't show you that either. So, what do you think that is? People lost, they're sad, they're grieving, they're depressed, they don't find a way because they don't believe there is a way. And it's horrible, right?
It is horrible.
And according to the big wigs, you're just a number, they can care less. But according to mankind and people, well, then we have to help each other, don't we?
Yes.
So those numbers are horrendous, horrendous that so many people are giving up. And that's not even including fentanyl and all the other drugs out on the streets that are killing people.
Oh.
Why? And you say, why do people do this? Why? Because they're lost. People,
Yes.
right?
Right.
And I believe that if one person helps one person at a time, we can move forward. And slowly throughout generations, it can be changed. Where I may not see that happen, that change, it will happen. Where if enough of us get around and just helping each other, look, it could be making a phone call to someone who needs that phone call. Helping
Right.
someone across the street that can't get across the street. Making someone smile and laugh.
Right.
Those little things that you do with intent and you don't expect anything back helps mankind. When you expect something back, then you're only fooling yourself, right? Because like, well, what's in it for me? Well, nothing is in it for you.
Right.
Do something because you want to help. But the return will come unconditional. Like I
That's
said, the other side, love is unconditional. So if you make that movement and help each other, then you could express through the journey of lifetimes going forward.
Right. That is so true. You know, and Tennessee here is called the volunteer state. You know, and so we're always volunteering to help people. That just seems to be what we do here. And I have learned a lot from being here in Paris. And I've always kind of had a heart to reach out and to help and to bless and to be there. And sometimes all I can do is give an ear or a hug or just a moment to chat with somebody and give a little instruction, you know. Like the Bible says, the older women teaching the younger. Well, I'm older. I can teach the younger. You know, I can do what I can do. I can't do everything, but I can do what I can do. And I think if we all had that attitude, the world would be so much greater. But it brings great joy to us when we do these things too, you know. You can't put a price tag on that happy feeling you feel when you know you've given somebody something that really has helped them, you know. And I don't mean financially, I mean spiritually, internally, you know. You've given them something to hold on to believe in it. And you're talking about, you know, people being lonely and committing suicide. These things are because, like you say, people are lost. They're hurting. Something hasn't gone right in their life. It might not even be their problem, the reason. It might be because of where they lived or something that happened to them with a birth defect or maybe a war issue or something like that, or abuse. You know, it's amazing all the different scenarios that could be. But if we're here to help one another, that's what it's all about.
And that's all we have. And that's why I'm glad you're doing the show and I do my show, Horsefly Chronicles Radio, because like I said, CNN, Fox News, they're not going to tell you. You know, they'll talk about politics. Politics, there could be an earthquake right now. Politics comes first.
Right.
What does that tell you? It tells you that it's embellished and brainwashing to society.
Right.
And society gets controlled by that. But don't let it change it. Let's go back to the traditional ways of mankind. Because the truth is, the further we're going, and it's like the worse we're getting.
Right.
With the technology destroying mankind in itself, too. You know, you have to go back to the natural things. I cannot tell you, I belong to like I'm an 80s, like a Generation X person, right? I know the people say, "Oh, I wish I can go back. I wish I can go back." That are my age, right? I wish I could go back. Why is that? You know why? Because life was more simple and more pleasurable, and family dinners were family dinners, and happiness was happiness, and loyalty was loyalty. Where today you go to a funeral or a wake and they're holding their cell phones, worrying about the next message they get from Facebook or texting or whatever. It's become a brainwash of I need the newest iPhone, I need this, I need the newest iPad. Why? Because you're forced through society. If you don't have an email address and all these things, then you're not part of the culture, and then you're looked at and mocked and left behind. What's interesting is I'm doing a study on people who now are deciding to live off the grid.
Mm-hmm.
You can go to YouTube and type it in, it's wild. But these people are leaving New York City and Los Angeles, and now they just bought land off the grid. Like, we want no part of our government, our society. We're starting our own communities of people helping people.
Mm-hmm.
And I got to tell you, they don't have much, but boy, are they happy. There's this
Yes.
wife and husband and their children, and we were looking like I would have a hard time doing certain things that they do, but they're finding a way. But not only I look at their faces and their expression, and they're happy.
Mm-hmm.
What does
Oh,
that tell you?
absolutely. Yes.
It tells you something, doesn't it?
Yes. It's so good to give of yourself, and that is why it makes you so happy. And it can't be compared to anything else, and having a relationship with God, for me, is that inspiration that causes me to want to help others. And my death and dying experience definitely brought that about, which I think is very interesting. Everybody I know, including some people who have like almost a negative death and dying experience, it changes them so much when they come back that they want to do something different with their life. Now they see something they have never seen before because of the feelings and how it affected them, and they didn't want to come back. I did not want to come back here. I did not. And I was begging not to come back. There's actually a point in my death and dying experience where I was fighting an angel off and saying, no, I won't go back. He was behind me, bringing me, and I was trying to elbow him to get off of me. And that's how serious I didn't want to come back here, knowing I had two little boys that I loved, and would have never left willingly. But once you're on that side, that depth of love that is almost unexplainable with human words is so drawing you. That's the love of our God. And it is so encompassing, and it just envelops every bit of you. You don't want to take that off and come back here. It's like we all want to go home. We all want to stay there. And it's just such a wonderful place. But everybody I know says the same thing that has had a death and dying experience. And that's why I said earlier, Philip, unless somebody's really had that, it's hard for them to understand, what this world is all about. Like, it's opened your eyes to the vileness, the things that are here, like the politicians and the money grabbers and the people that are trying to rip you off for a sale, the old coinage. People can be a whore for a dime. They always want to charge you more. They want to ruin your finances to bless their own. And the older you get, the clearer you see all that. When you're young, you don't necessarily. And it's so true what you're saying. They've been dumbed down to constantly look at their phones. And social media has taken away those family dinners you were talking about. Because you're not going to sit down and have dinner with somebody and talk to somebody and get to know somebody eyeball to eyeball when you can just do it right here and be unattached to it. You don't have to give too much of yourself. It really is horrible. Yeah.
It's sad because I always tell my kids too, I just wish I could take you a day back into the 80s or the 70s.
Yes.
Just to show you the difference of what life really was.
Right.
Compared to what it is now, you know? And it's become a way since the last 10 years that it's just going out of control where no one's really, people are happy to see other people in these, I hate to say it, but if you go on like social media, they like car accidents and people getting hurt, and they're getting viral off of it, and they're getting views, and they're like, that's horrible. And that's
Yes.
what was happening now, is that transition of, what about mankind? What happens if it happens to you? You know,
Mm-hmm.
we're going the wrong way.
Yes.
We're going the wrong way.
Yep.
And whatever time I got left on the earth, look, my life isn't perfect. No one's life is.
Nobody's. Yeah.
I deal with different things every day of the week, but that's okay. I
Mm-hmm.
say this, and I will stand on the ground of, I'd rather die the poorest man on earth, but the richest man in soul.
That's right. Mm-hmm. As you move forward, I call it heaven, and I feel the same way. You know, it isn't about everything that we get. You know, we go through seasons. You start out in life and you seem to want to gather and get so much because you're planning for tomorrow. For, you need to have this, you need to have that. Your needs have to be met. And then as you go on, now you're upgrading when you're in your 30s and 40s and 50s. And then when you're in your 60s and 70s, take it from me, you start getting rid of stuff because you realize you've been doing this all your life, and for what? You don't need all of those things anymore. But some of us get addicted to it, and we just keep getting it and getting it. But the truth is you need to kind of give it away, and that is what life is about, it seems, but we need to start looking at it from this perspective. We need to start giving ourselves away, pouring ourselves out for people and helping people, like you were saying. I'm so happy about your book. I can't wait to read it. I look forward to that because it sounds like it's going to be amazing, and you've got 12 other people that are contributing to this book. Is that what you were saying?
Yeah,
12 other?
yeah. Someone reached out to me from South Africa, and they seen my testimony
Mm-hmm.
back months ago, and like, we want you to be part of something big. And I was listening to them, and I like the mission that this is going on.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm embracing that mission and pushing it forward. Whether you choose to believe or laugh or smile or frown upon a near-death experience of what heaven is or God, that's up to each individual. But the true mission is to help mankind, no matter what your belief is. And
That's right.
that should be part of and embedded in everybody
Mm-hmm.
moving forward.
And when does this book come out?
That'll be out March 21st.
March 21st of this year. Awesome.
Yeah.
And will it be available on Amazon, or
Yeah.
will you be doing a book signing? Or?
Amazon. And we're going to have a panel,
Okay.
and all of us are going to be expressed on a panel and taking questions from people around the world on this near-death experience and what we've encountered and how we're going to push our mission going forward. And it's kind of like, remember that singer way back in the day? She sang "I Am Woman."
Oh, yes.
I am.
Hear me roar.
Well, she started a movement in a way because she brought that inspiration to women through the song. And this is kind of like a trajectory of, we're helping mankind
Right.
through a movement. This is not just a book. It's a movement of mankind helping mankind.
I think that was
That's
Helen Reddy you were speaking about.
Helen Reddy,
Yeah.
yes. So
That's neat.
that's where we're going to go. That's our mission. Again, no one lives a perfect journey. I don't care what you have.
That's right.
Last night I was on a conference call with a person on near-death experience because we're putting our thoughts together for this movement.
Mm-hmm.
This person had millions of dollars, 13 homes. They live in Hawaii, and they're like, I gave it all up.
Mm-hmm.
And we asked what happened. And they didn't want to get into that, but then I'm happier now.
Mm-hmm.
After my near-death experience, this is a person that's a millionaire,
Mm-hmm.
was a millionaire.
Mm-hmm.
It's not, all those material things are okay, but it's that void you're filling in life. It's that void. And then we talk about this. Look at all the singers and actors and actresses.
Yes.
Some of them, why do they die so young?
Right.
Well, let's just say it the way it is. They bought everything they could buy. They can't buy more happiness, so then they start going to other things and medications and pills. And what happens? Elvis Presley, Michael Jackson. The list goes
Sure,
on and
all of
on.
them.
When
Yeah.
you're trying to follow happiness through a form of a medication because you already have everything you want.
Right.
So
Money
what does that
can't buy
tell
you
you?
love. Yeah.
Bang. And there you go.
That's right. And that is so very true. You know, the Beatles sang that back in the 60s, money can't buy you love. You know, and look at all the songs that were written about money. The love of money is the root of all evil. And I think
Yeah.
that's interesting. Not money. Money isn't evil. It's that love, that greed, that lust of money. And those people made big sacrifices for the lust of that money because money was their goal, their king, you know, what they were shooting for. And when they got it, it doesn't satisfy you. There's only one thing that will really satisfy our hearts, and that's the experiences that we feel from that great love that only God can give us. And it is there in heaven beyond when we leave here. And that is what is so powerful. You know, you can't even find words, like you were saying, to express that great love that you feel, and that's the love that comes from our Creator. And it's just amazing. And that's not religion. It's not religion. It is simply truth. It's just a truth. And
Yes,
I
it
look
is.
at it as a spiritual growth, coming to know that and being involved in it, you know. And, you know, we're almost out of time. And I want to have you back because, Philip, I'd like to hear some of your other stories. You've got several different things going on. You've got the house there, which is the Horsefly Chronicles home. That's a beautiful home, by the way. That is just absolutely gorgeous.
You
And
know, yeah, it is, but it looks so deceiving.
yeah, you have said that it has haunted, you know, tendencies there, and I'd love to hear about those and see, you know, what's going on with you there. And we'd love to have you back. So we'll have to have you back and then focus on that. And I hope people will listen to both you and your wife, Julia. She's such a wonderful, lovely lady. And you both do your Facebook, Horsefly Chronicles, cases, files, and .com, your horseflychronicles.com. So I hope people will go and visit you and look for your book as soon as that comes out on Amazon in March. And thank you so much for being on the show tonight. It's just been really a wonderful time, you know, sharing your story. And thank God that you did come back and that you didn't die then. And you're here with us now to share and be a part of what you're doing. Bravo to you. I think it's
I
wonderful.
appreciate that. And I'll just say really quick, in the last couple of years, I helped 3 people not take their lives.
Oh,
They
that's
reached out to
wonderful.
me. We were watching certain interviews I've done, and they're like, after watching your interview and talking to you, I want to move forward.
Yeah.
So, you know, push it forward and
Yeah.
believe in yourself and believe that you can help each other.
Yes.
So I want to thank you so much for having me on. I really do appreciate it. If anybody wants to reach out, you can email me at psiracusa4@yahoo.com. And I look forward to a future show and also coming down to your home in Tennessee.
Oh, we'd love to have you and Julia. Absolutely would love it. So
Well,
keep
thank
that
you.
in mind. Let's get it on the calendar.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so very much. And so also we want to hear from you, our listeners, what you think about today's show. And I just loved having Philip on. Great guy, him and his wife. So reach out to us and let us know who you'd like to see in the future on the show and what kind of questions that you're wondering about, that you might have questions about for yourself. You know, that's why we're here. You can email us at hauntedparis@usa.com. And we're also on Facebook at Paris Paranormal, as well as on YouTube at our Enigmatic Anomalies channel, at YouTube at enigmaticanomalies.com. And remember, if you'd like to see someone featured here on our show, reach out to us. please look us up and don't forget to hit the like and subscribe buttons for us while you're there. Thanks for tuning in tonight and enjoy the rest of your evening. Stay warm and be careful on those roads out there because it's been a really crazy month actually, for the weather. So I'll see you next week for another great show here on Paris Paranormal. Bye now and take care.